Hey folks, it's your pal Doug. It's a rainy Sunday morning. I got some things to do. I got some writing to do. I'm going to be working on a my take on the double identity scene from Where Eagles Dare. Ooh, get to do my Richard Burton. Uh, but it's put me in a historical mood and slightly hysterical, which I'm gonna roll with that. And thinking about that time period, World War II. And I was telling Deb recently that I heard Volare in some context, not long ago. Love that song. And we think of Dean Martin, other Italian singers too, but particularly Dean Martin. Volare, whoa, volare, whoa. I add the extra kind of, the extra bit, kind of elongate it, because that's my scene. I don't know that Dino did that. Just, but hey, maybe rediscover the song. But thinking of discovering it, a little bit of the origins of Volare, as far as I remember it, not personally, but the stories. Being a history guy uh, that I am, is that supposedly, that's the way I understand it, it was a resistance song for the French resistance, and they had it terrible for a long time, up until the Normandy invasions, and they were under the heels of the Nazis, the Fouquin, Fouquet Nazis. I got to brush up on my French, but that's either fucking or I want to have you sex with your mom, which is kind of the same thing. I don't really understand French, that clearly, but in the same ballpark. And yeah, the origins of the song are that it's French, and it was a song for the resistance fighters, because they had it bad and they needed something. They needed their music to lift their spirits, and not just everybody singing what they heard, on the French radio, and Fouquet, the Nazis, but something with a little bit more, pull them all together, that they can all relate to, and something with a joy to it. So I think it was Fouquin Volare, and I don't know exactly what the French term was. Work on it. But yeah, Volare was what they sang together. The French sang together as sort of a rallying cry. But there is, unfortunately, an unfortunate side to this story. Actually, sort of an unfortunate end. Is that these people had much exuberance. They were doing something very, very important. They in so many ways, they paved the way for the invasion and the success of the Allied forces. I mean, just wonderful job. And of course, so many of the French had gone over to the Nazis. I forget who was the Vichy, who was the Vichy Soir, and uh, what do they call the potato soup? I forget those details. But yeah, I mean, so, a lot of them had gone over to the Germans. They were certainly, not necessarily trying to help the resistance. So those who were the fighters. They were united. It was a united front, and they sang Volare, the French version, to keep their spirits up. And that way too, if somebody heard that, it's a fellow French resistance fighter, and there was that unity. You know, the unfortunate end. Well, yeah, this is basically the reason why this story is not widely known. Is God bless these people. God bless their determination, their stamina, their courage, their fortitude, their gusto. But the thing is, the gusto kind of hurt them, because they started singing it with so much exuberance, and so many of them got to know the song and identify it as the song of the French resistance, that they sang it rather too exuberantly. And of course, the Nazis heard them and simply walked in and rounded them up and took care of their Nazi sort of business. It's terrible. I mean, history is really, it's got so many nice anecdotes, but there's a lot of history of mankind is often a very brutal thing. And but and the French would often go to their deaths singing Volare. Pretty sure they used the French term that I was using before, which is a fouquet, towards the Nazis to have, many meanings there, and maybe concerning the Nazis' mothers too, but this is a general Fouquet term, and Fouquet Volare. Whoa, whoa. But yeah, that's the true story, or not so true. The story according to Doug of Volare, and of course the end note to that is that there were some survivors, happily, as there are of really all times in history, and many of them came to the United States, and of course a very heavy Italian population, and New York, all over the place. Luckily, I mean, wonderful, wonderful people, and with great food. This is where we get Sinatra, man, and Dean Martin, one of the many singers who heard that. He worked it into his act, and then we got to know Volare as the exuberant love song uh, that we know it as, but really, the origins was something different. It had that exuberance, but was something different, and really not the Americanized Italian American version that we know of as Volare now. So that's the truth about Volare. Either that or it's complete and total bullshit. You make the call. Have a good one.